We ended up in the grimy restroom cubicle. He unzipped the back of my dress while I unbuttoned his jeans. The sex was soulless and unsatisfying, and it was over within minutes. What's going on once again, everybody? Welcome to the channel. If you are new to the channel, I invite you to subscribe. Welcome and good to have you. If you are a returning viewer, good to see you again. This girl was so bad with herself. She thought of herself as losing control and that losing freedom because a guy she was with asked her to marry him. And the way she behaved is so bad. She behaved so badly at her bachelorette party that she ended up cheating on the guy. In the way that he ended up found out, not because she told him, but because of her best friend who cornered her, and she eventually told her best friend, and the best friend told her husband. And for your relationship, guys, that's something you should learn from. Just because you ask somebody to marry you and they say yes, doesn't always mean they want that. I cheated on my husband a week before our wedding. Here's what I learned from the biggest mistake of my life. Cheated on my husband at my bachelorette party, and it was the biggest mistake of my life. That night, I felt anxious before my girlfriend and I had even arrived at the bar. Once we were seated, I didn't sip my drink. Instead, I gulped down cocktail after cocktail to take the edge off my mounting unease. Last night out before your missus, my friend Jazz, who knew me as a party animal, whooped as I downed yet another strawberry daiquiri. She winked and gestured to the barman for a refill. We're only just getting started. Yeah, that's not good. This man has no idea. Party animals? Mm-mm. No, sir. Thank you. To the cheering friends around me, my eagerness to get plastered made it look like I was in the mood to revel. But I wasn't drinking to celebrate my imminent marriage. Instead, I was drinking to escape the voice in my head that warned, Angie, you're not ready to commit. You see, when a woman is having these kind of thoughts, those kind of doubts, it's never a good sign to the guy. It'll never be a good thing when she's having those kind of thoughts, man. Because even if she's get married to the guy, you never know what's going to happen down the line. Once a party animal, always a party animal. And you're going to see during that party time what's going to happen. I was getting cold feet. An hour into the drinking session, I excused myself to go to the restroom. My legs wobbled beneath me when I stood up. In the quiet cubicle, I took my time. I needed to be alone. I didn't understand why, but I felt overcome by a powerful mix of anger and grief. My friends were too rambunctious with happiness, too excited on my behalf. So your friends are more excited than you are at your own bachelorette party. Heh, what does that tell you, fellas? Deep down, I felt jealous of their carefree lives. Why were they so keen to celebrate the end of my freedom? Wait, so getting married is the end of your freedom? Interesting. I wanted nothing more than to go to bed in a stupor, away from their banter and laughter and high hopes for my future. Instead, I loitered by the hand dryer, delaying my return to the bar. I took deep breaths to try to ease the tightness in my chest. What was wrong with me? Why wasn't I happy? That's a good question. Only you can answer that. Only you. I felt certain I loved my husband to be Jaden. At the same time, a part of me resented him for wanting to tie me down. After our wedding, we planned to move back to his hometown. I pictured myself, decades after decades, supporting his hobbies, prioritizing his career, having sex the way he liked it. Had my future been decided, would that be my life? Not that Jaden was selfish. He wasn't telepathic, that's all. A perpetual people pleaser since childhood, I've never learned to pipe up and ask him for what I wanted. Unlike him, I didn't even know what I wanted. You'll never do. But I understood that unless I got the hang of expressing my needs soon would run into some serious problems. I made an awful drunken mistake. I'd started making my way back to the bar when a dark haired stranger approached me. He was clean shaven, his shirt was crisply ironed, and he smelled of sandalwood cologne. Haven't I seen you somewhere before? He asked. I knew he hadn't. It was nothing more than a chat up line. I felt a wave of anger and grief wash over me. As a party animal, yes, that's something you can expect her to know and have knowledge of because she knows those lines. She's been in those scenes for so long. She can differentiate when a guy is being sincere, when a guy is trying to start up a chit chat and everything like that. She's a party animal. She knows that stuff. But I wasn't angry at the stranger, whose interest was mildly flattering. I was angry at myself, at Jaden, and at my oblivious friends who couldn't see I wasn't ready for marriage. Have I seen you somewhere before? The stranger repeated. Yes, I replied, unsteady on my feet. Then, in a senseless moment of drunken self sabotage, I lurched forward and kissed him. No, 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 no. You knew what you were doing. You intentionally lurched yourself forward and kissed him. You wanted to do that. We ended up in the grimy restroom cubicle. He unzipped the back of my dress while I unbuttoned his jeans. The sex was soulless and unsatisfying, and it was over within minutes. Why I went through with the wedding. I walked down the aisle on my wedding day feeling sick to my stomach. I knew that with every step I took, time was running out. I had to save my fiancée from myself before it was too late. Halfway down the aisle, I wanted to turn back and run. I wanted to sob and to scream, to crush the white roses in my bouquet, to tear up the tulle skirt of my wedding dress. My heart blazed with shame. My conscience shrieked, "Abort!" But all eyes were on me. I couldn't do it. Then I reached the altar and looked up at my husband to be, who had no idea how I'd betrayed him. I saw his eyes shining with pride and adoration where there should have been disgust. Even you recognize that. I've never been big on strength, resolve, or courage, but at that moment, every trace of those qualities left me. As he took my trembling hands in his, I convinced myself I had a duty to protect them from the trauma of learning what I've done. I didn't deserve to marry Jaden, but neither did he deserve to have his heart broken. Let me get this clear. So you hid the truth from him, and now you convincing yourself you had to protect them. You have a duty to protect them. That is very noble of you. You hide the truth from him in consideration of yourself being noble. You deprive the man of choice, his ability to choose how he proceed forward with you. So instead of telling the man the truth, you made a choice for him. How would that feel if he had made that choice for you? You'll destroy him if you tell the truth, Angie. That's how I justify my silence. Why burden a good man with so much pain? So I vow to be faithful to him, forsaking all others. My voice shook but gave nothing away. I wept when we shared our first kiss as husband and wife. No, 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 no. That's not the reason why you wept. You wept because you're going to miss being a party animal. You wept because you're going to miss the party lifestyle. You wept because you're going to miss your freedom, as you said earlier. You're going to miss that lifestyle. You're going to miss being a party animal. You're going to miss being taken in the bathroom of a grimy cubicle restroom at a nightclub. That's what you're going to miss. So don't give us that nonsense. Oh, I'm weeping because I'm protecting my husband. No, 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 no. You wept because you're going to miss all these things that you mentioned prior. I'm crying happy tears. I insisted when he cradled my face. He trusted me, so he believed that lie, just as he believed all others that would come after. At the reception, I drank too much Merlot and ended up dry heaving over the toilet, head spinning. What's the matter, Angie? My best friend and bridesmaid Nina knelt beside me, rubbing my back. I'm hormonal. I rattled off every excuse I could think of. Getting married is one big emotional whirlwind. I'm not good with crowds, and being in the limelight is freaking intense. All those statements were accurate to an extent, but the principal reason for my anguish? I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone, not even Nina. Instead, I reassured her that nothing was wrong and forced a smile for the rest of the night. How my husband found out. Ultimately, it was Nina who plucked the truth out of me a couple years later. She'd noticed I'd been growing more and more unhappy. One Friday evening, she invited me around for dinner. I showed up with plenty of drinks, as usual, and proceeded to drown my sorrows. A few hours later, I woke up on the couch wearing her nightgown. I learned she'd showered and changed me after I blacked out drunk and vomited over myself. I can tell you're in pain, Angie. She hugged me as I cried into her shoulder. I know you. I see the signs. You smoke a lot more than you used to. You eat way more takeout. And these days, you never attend a social event without drinking yourself stupid. What the heck is going on, girl? What's wrong? Under her expectant gaze, my defenses broke down. I was so tired of suffering. I couldn't take it anymore. I needed someone to hear me out, to absolve me. Begging Nina not to hate me, I admitted what happened at the bachelorette party. I explained how, through 2 years of marriage, I'd continued keeping the truth from Jaden. Her body froze. She pulled away from me. Her next words made my blood run cold. Angie, either you tell him or I will. Well, that's a good friend. Good to Jaden, that is. What? I couldn't breathe. I'd never felt so close to a panic attack. But it's innocent, Nina. He doesn't deserve to go through hell because of me. I don't want to ruin his life because of my stupid mistake. You think you're doing him a favor by lying? Are you delusional? You're keeping the truth from him. That's wrong. You're manipulating him into believing he lives in a different reality. Bawling, I buried my head in my hands. Nina grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me. Listen, Angie, you don't want to hurt him. I get that. But the fact that you cheated on him shows you guys have problems. If you refuse to be honest, you have no hope in hell of repairing your relationships. She closed her eyes for a moment and took a deep breath. Like I said, either you tell him or I will. I wish I could say I had the guts to fix my own marriage, but I couldn't bear the thought of facing Jaden, so I chose the cowardly option, just as I'd done for the past 2 years. You tell him, I whimpered. Nina tutted, shook her head, and picked up the phone. What I learned. A week after Nina's phone call, Jaden filed for divorce. You could have saved them all that time. What a waste of time. I do not blame him in the slightest. I agreed to divorce him, feeling a mixture of devastation and relief. You see, all that nonsense, what you could have done is save the man the time and the money. Time and money, something he can never recovers. Well, he can recover the money, but the time, time and money. I mean, the man can earn some more money in the future, but you took away 2 years of his life. 2 years of his life he could have spent doing something else. He could have spent and applied that to something different. And you wasted 2 years of the man's life. 2 years. He'll never recover that 2 years again. Never. Once that time's gone, it's gone for good. It's now been several years since I came clean to Nina, and I've come to believe she was right to push for honesty. I thought I was protecting Jaden by keeping my transgression a secret. In reality, I was robbing him of the right to choose whether he wanted to be with me. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd confessed my fling earlier. Would Jaden have forgiven me? Would he have worked through our relationship issues? It's not our relationship issue, sweetheart. You had issues. He had nothing wrong with him. You were questioning your freedom. You thought being married was taking away your freedom. He never had such thoughts. You were the one with problem. You were the one with issues, not Jaden. Take that accountability. Maybe, but that's pointless speculation about a hypothetical situation. By lying throughout our brief marriage, I irreversibly damage his trust in me. Currently, I'm in therapy, and I expect I will be for a long time. I'm working on reducing my alcohol consumption as I drink far too much to self medicate. Yeah, you need to keep yourself away from yourself, first of all, and from people, society for a long time. You see me, I try to stay away from people who do substances too much, who use substances to drown the sorrows, to drown the problems. I stay away from people like that. I grew up with the mentality that when you have problems, you face it head on, solve the problem, and move on. And you know what people do, those who abuse substances? They always rely on the pretext of vice. No, ma'am, no, sir, you do not use that for a vice. You have a problem. This is not a vice. Fix your problem, deal with your problem head on, and move on with life. And when you talk to these people, they always talk to you, especially me when I have conversation with some people. Oh man, you have no vice. You don't do this, you don't do that, or whatnot. No, sir, no, ma'am. I'm my own vice. I'm my own substance. You need substance, you need to get drunk, you come get drunk on me. I'm my own vice. You got a problem, you deal with me directly. I do not use substances for vice. Matter of fact, I do not drink, I do not smoke nothing. I'm my own vice. Deal with that. I'm not saying drinking is wrong, drinking is this, drinking is that. I'm not saying that at all. But don't use that as an escape to drown your sorrows, to drown your problems. That's never going to fix whatever it is you're going through. I have also started addressing my people pleasing issues. I struggle to identify and express my own wishes in relationships. I've realized I needed to get better at asking for what I want. Otherwise, I end up feeling resentful. At the bachelorette party, my resentment manifested as cheating. I wanted to regain a sense of control in my relationship with Jaden, and I went about it in the most immature way possible. So, if I've learned anything from my mistake, it's the importance of not burying your feelings. Repressed feelings can burst out of you unexpectedly in the form of hurtful, thoughtless actions. Jaden didn't need me to cheat. He needed me to face him and have an honest conversations. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is speak up and say how you feel. I agree. Once again, thank you for checking out the video. Let us know what you think in the comment below. Subscribe to the channel, like the video on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.